Boys, the UFC Glorified Fight Night is coming up this Saturday, May 4th, UFC 301. Such a disappointing pay-per-view. This is what happens when we stack 299 and 300. We don't have that many name values for the next upcoming pay-per-view cards. And it just shows here the very unmarketable, not that entertaining flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja is going to be the headliner. That just shows that they're struggling to find people to put on this card. The fact that they had to bring back José Aldo just shows that they're kind of struggling having all of the name value on 300. But with that being said, we're going to go through every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelims, ending off with the main event, Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. And I'm going to give you my groundbreaking rare predictions on every single fight, who I think is going to win and how. Let's start off with the opener of the early prelims, Alexandre Costa versus Kevin Borjas. Costa coming into this fight being the more athletic, the stronger, the bigger fighter out of the two. Reach, height, and weight all about practically even. A little bit of an advantage on the Kevin Borjas side. But with that being said, I think Costa is going to be the better fighter. He's just better all around than Kevin Borjas. I do see Costa eventually getting a takedown on Kevin Borjas and then finishing up with most likely a submission. I'm going to say round one, it's going to be more of a feeling out process. Costa will most likely eventually get a takedown, do some ground and pound there, probably not go for any real submission threats until round two, where he will eventually probably get, I'm going to say, like a rear naked choke on Kevin Borjas. There's a lot of fighters on this card, so let's go through them as fast as we can, especially on these early prelim cards. Moving on to probably the lock of the card, Bonfim versus Vinc Pichel. And again, lock of the card, Ismael Bonfim, practically an infinite money glitch at this point. Pichel last fight was back 2022, a whole 2 years ago. His last win was back in 2021. This man isn't getting any younger. He's 41 years old. This is practically an easy layup win the UFC is setting up for Bonfim. Again, lock of the card. Vinc isn't known as the fastest starter, where Bonfim is a super fast starter, has some crazy striking, and more likely than not, this is going to end in probably a very early first round KO. The UFC is setting this up so Bonfim can get a nice highlight reel KO on his record. That being said, moving over to the women's flyweight division, we have Dione Barbosa versus Ernesta Kate. Crazy last name. Regardless, Barbosa does have the stronger, more powerful, the more dominant ground game. If she does get a hold of Kate and gets her on the ground, I can see this being a very hard fight for Kate. With that being said, Kate has a whole lot better resume, not fighting wise, but preparation wise. She's done kickboxing, she's done some boxing in the past, just building on her MMA fundamentals. She is currently undefeated. She is the taller and longer fighter. I think that's going to play a very big part in this fight. Yes, I can see Barbosa getting a hold of her and just dominating the fight at that point. We could see a finish from the ground, or we can just see a typical women's decision win. But I think what's going to play a big part is the reach of Kate. The reach, the fact that she has all these extra kickboxing, boxing fundamentals underneath her belt. I think that's what's going to win this fight. I think Kate's going to play a good defense, keeping her at range with her longer reach, jabbing her all night. I can see Barbosa definitely getting a hold of her on the ground, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a 29-28 win for Kate. Let's move down to the lightweight division. Mauricio Ruffy taking on Jamie Mullarkey, and it sucks to say because I am a fan of Jamie Mullarkey, but he's been a hit or miss recently. I'm not gonna lie. He came into the UFC looking all right, but he's really fallen off a lot. Been hit a stupid amount in his last few fights. The chin honestly isn't really there that much. He's super chinny, where Ruffy on the other hand is super strong, explosive, powerful for the lightweight division, has really good IQ when it comes to finishing fights, and his striking is just, honestly, his striking is really fun to watch. He's so good at hiding his heavy shots, hiding a spinning heel kick. He's very good at making his opponent think he's going to throw one thing when he actually is setting up to throw a KO blow. So that being said, Mullarkey, extremely chinny as of late. I don't see how Mullarkey can get it done. I see Ruffy ending this probably in the first round, to be honest. First round knockout. If not, I can see the first round being a gauging, him hiding shots, trying to find out when he has that opening to land that KO shot. So regardless, I see this ending in a knockout, either first or second round. Moving down, another lightweight fight. Joaquim Silva taking on Drakkar Klose. Now, Joaquim Silva, just the less proven fighter out of the two. Klose, in my opinion, is just consistently good, has extremely good composure, and what we saw in last week's fight is if that typically the guy that has the better composure throughout the fight is the one that's going to win the fight. The height and reach advantage practically the exact same, a little bit advantage on the Klose side. With that being said, I think Klose is going to keep this a practically safe fight, good composure all throughout. He's not going to let anything Silva does affect him too much, and I can see him winning a close but a unanimous 29-28 win. Moving down into the prelims, the opener of the prelims in the featherweight division, Gene Silva taking on William Gomis. Gene Silva low-key might be a serial killer. That one time when he's just non-stop barking in the cage gives me hella serial killer vibes just looking at this man's eyes. This man looks like he's about to kill someone. With that being said, his gas tank isn't the best. Definitely tires down throughout the fight, which I don't think is going to favor him at all in this fight. William Gomis has the better distant management than the two. So good, in fact, that during the fight, it can get extremely boring. It low-key gives me like Israel Adesanya vibes where he's just point fighting throughout the fight. With that being said, I can see Gomis doing extremely good distant management and then finding a counter shot here and there. But with that being said, I see this ending two ways. Unfortunately, I do like Gene Silva. He is a crazy guy, but I don't see him getting past William Gomis in this fight. I can see it either going a very boring decision win for Gomis, playing that point fighting game, or I can see Gomis starting to get a little bit frustrated with the way Gomez's fight style is, starting to get extremely sloppy on the feet, letting off bombs, trying to get that KO win, completely abandoning his defense in order just to get into Gomez's face. And during that, I can see Gomis countering him with a clean check hook, something around there. I can see a late third round finish for William Gomis. Either that or a decision win. It only just depends what Silva's game plan is. Am I wanting Silva to win? Yes. But unfortunately, I think Gomis is going to take it. Moving down, another lightweight fight. We have Elves Brener taking on Myktybek Orolbai. This guy was literally born during the dinosaurs. So you already know this guy. Super far ancestors of ours. I don't know how the hell he survived this long, especially being born in the dinosaur age, but with all that age comes more experience. He's been training for lifetimes, and because of that, you know he has that ooga booga strength with him. Elves Brener, on the other hand, has pretty decent takedown defense, but definitely his bread and butter is the striking. But pretty much this is the battle of the ooga booga and the crazy hairline. This man's growing his hairline back. Honestly, this picture just looks crazy. Man had that McDonald's logo as his hairline. Now he got that surgery, getting it to grow back, but it just looks hella goofy right now in that weird stage of growing back. With that being said, Orolbai's got this, in my opinion. I can see it being relatively close on the feet, but sooner than later, Orolbai is going to get that takedown, is going to get some sort of mount position. Orolbai has some great strikes on top, practicing ground and pound on baby T-Rexes when he was young. You already know Orolbai by either a TKO win ground and pound, or I can see him gain a submission late in the round, but I don't think it's going all through rounds. I can see this happening in the mid-second round. Moving down to a women's strawweight fight, Karolina Kowalkiewicz taking on Yasmin Lucindo. Now, Lucindo is the more technical fighter, in my opinion. She is the stronger out of the two, and typically for a women's fight, you give it the eye test. Which of the two women look more like a woman typically is going to lose that fight. With the weight and reach advantages practically the same. But one of the glaring things that I noticed is Karolina, 38 years old, starting to get a little bit over the mountain there. And with all that being said, Lucindo's going to win this, more likely by a unanimous 29-28, maybe 30-27 decision. Moving on, featherweight, Jack Shore taking on Joanderson Brito. Now, when it comes to the featherweight division, I don't think Jack Shore is built for the featherweight division. Maybe if he took some time off and put some more muscle on his frame. Right now, he's definitely not built whatsoever for the featherweight division. He's too small for these featherweights. He honestly has that Ian Gary vegan diet physique right now. Not that much like muscle definition, unlike Burrito. Speaking of Burrito, he does have the more powerful shots. He is definitely the more athletic and fast out of the two. Yeah, I don't see Jack Shore doing very well in this match. Like I said, he's just not built, at least right now, for this featherweight division. He would do so much better if he jumped back down to bantamweight. With that being said, I'm seeing a late second round takedown for Joe Anderson, and I see him finishing there with some ground and pound. Again, I don't see Jack Shore being able to muscle his way back up. I don't think he'll be able to get up very easily or even at all if Joe Anderson does take him down. So that's what I'm seeing. Joe Anderson, second round TKO. With that being said, we're moving over to the main card now. In the middleweight division, we have Paul Craig taking on Cal Borralho. And there was a point in time where I was very much on the Paul Craig train, but as of recently, he hasn't been looking that great. He's honestly not that good at taking people down. When he goes for takedowns, single leg, double leg, doesn't typically get them down. We saw what happened in the Johnny Walker fight. For some reason, some of the tism kicked in and he just hugged on his leg while getting viciously hit in the head and got knocked out for that. But again, he's not very good at just going for simple single legs or double legs. The only time he really gets any of his opponents down is when his opponents shoot on him, and I don't see Borralho doing that. Borralho is the more dynamic on the feet. He is the way better striker than Paul Craig, but that doesn't mean he's not good on the ground. He is extremely good with scrambles. He won't accept being held down on the ground against Paul Craig. He will scramble his way back up, and really because of that, I don't see a real path for victory for Paul Craig unless he gets a Hail Mary submission. I think Borralho is going to probably chin him in the first round. Again, he's a more dynamic on the feet, extremely good footwork, and just the way better striking. I can see Borralho putting Paul Craig down and finishing the fight with ground and pound, putting out Paul Craig cold. But with that being said, moving to another middleweight fight. This fight's going to be very fast. Michel Pereira taking on Ihor Potieria. Now, Ihor just recently fighting Shogun Rua. Honestly, it was Shogun Rua and he didn't look that good. He was honestly struggling to find the finish at certain times. Plus, he just had one of the... it's just so disgusting to even think about. He had one of the cringiest Fortnite emotes ever after beating old man Shogun. And honestly, because of that, that just made me a #1 day one hater. I'm praying on this man's downfall. But also Michel Pereira, after moving to middleweight, he's been looking crazy. He's a very fast starter, something that I think Ihor is going to struggle with a lot. He's 100% going to be the faster and stronger guy on the feet. And in my opinion, he can either KO Ihor or he can submit him. Do I see Michel Pereira's game plan is going to be trying to submit Ihor? No. Michel Pereira is going to go out there and try to find a highlight reel KO over him. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I want to say first round, but for some reason I can see Ihor maybe playing it a little bit safer, point fighting, staying out of the range, running back a little bit. But if Michel doesn't find that chin in the first round, definitely he's going to find it in the second round. I do not see this going to the judges. Give me Michel Pereira by some crazy highlight KO. Moving up to the light heavyweight division, we have Anthony, on paper, I'm champ Smith versus Vitor Petrino. At this point, I'm convinced that Anthony Smith not only has the most delusional takes ever, he's extremely delusional about his skills. He has terrible fighting IQ. And at this point, the only real thing that he has over Vitor is his experience, and his experience is literally just getting the shit beat out of him for 15-30 minutes. Vitor Petrino is coming into this fight undefeated. He is extremely strong. He's well-rounded, very good head movement, good footwork. I don't see this ending very good for Anthony Smith at all. I don't want to predict all these fights ending quickly, but Anthony Smith is just not the guy he used to be. Granted, he was never really that elite level fighter, but as of recently, he's just nowhere near to what he was before. Definitely needs to hang him up, continue on some commentary duties. But I think Vitor Petrino, he's gonna run through Anthony Smith like butter. I'm gonna give Anthony Smith the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna say a third round just beating. He's not gonna flatline Anthony Smith, but he's gonna beat him up bad. A TKO. The ref's gonna have to stop it. And yeah, maybe the last fight for Anthony Smith, but on paper he would have won this fight. But regardless, moving on to the co-main events of the evening, bantamweight division. Jonathan Martinez taking on José Aldo. Now, a lot of people are sleeping on José Aldo. You know, he's not coming off the couch. He's not been on like that Conor McGregor diet of cocaine, strippers, hookers, and proper 12. This man has been fighting. He's been in a few boxing fights already. He hasn't been taking time off. He's constantly, if not in camp for a fight, he's still training, working out. He's not like he's been doing nothing this entire time. He has insane championship level IQ. And at this point, the only thing I think Jonathan Martinez, at this exact point, the only thing he's better at is the leg kicks. And that's only because, as of recently, we haven't seen José Aldo implement that many leg kicks into his game. I have no idea why. You could say there's an argument. He was the best at throwing his leg kicks, the power he would generate, how fast they were. I have no idea why he didn't implement them more into his career. But I do see moments where José Aldo can land that clean body shot he landed on Jeremy Stephens, on Jonathan Martinez. He is a better striker all around. He's just all around the better fighter. He just needs to avoid those leg kicks and land his own leg kicks. And yeah, I definitely see a body shot landing sometime throughout the fight. I'm on that José Aldo hype train. If he wins this, he needs to really consider staying in and having a run at the belt. But, you know, I'm sipping some of that Kool-Aid. Give me José Aldo, first round TKO. He's going to hurt him bad with a body shot and finish it off with some ground and pound. Ref's going to have to pull him off. TKO win, José Aldo. Giving him another title run. I can see it now. You know the UFC wants to give Sean O'Malley someone like José Aldo. The amount of pay-per-views that would generate would be insane. But let's move over. Flyweight division. The flyweight championship on the line. The main event. Alexandre Pantoja taking on Steve Erceg. And I don't know what these people on Twitter are saying. I've seen so many just delusional takes that Steve Erceg is going to just KO, flatline, just kill Pantoja. That's what they're making it seem like. But are we forgetting that the stronger, tougher guy with dynamite in his hands, Figueiredo, couldn't flatline Pantoja? He did drop him. Yes, he did drop him. I'll give it to that. But Pantoja did recover relatively fast and stayed into the fight. He didn't get finished. And for some reason, everyone's slurping that Steve Erceg juice and thinking he's going to be the guy to dethrone Pantoja. I don't see that happening. Pantoja just has levels of more experience than Erceg. And in my opinion, people only want Steve Erceg to win is because, let's be honest, Pantoja isn't the most entertaining champion, not over just champion, just not even the most entertaining fighter there is on the roster. That's why I think a lot of people are trying to switch into that Steve Erceg train. All around, I see Pantoja being the better fighter. Steve Erceg is very good, has very good striking defense. He's very slick with it. He's been training recently a lot on his takedown defense, but let's not confuse ourselves. This is his fourth fight in the UFC. There's a reason why everyone is so impressed on Pereira's fast rise to championship, because that shit doesn't happen very often. And being 4 fights into his UFC career, we're practically doing the same thing. We're practically saying Steve Erceg is the next Pereira. Do I see a world where there's a finish in this fight? Unfortunately not. You know, Pantoja, again, not the most entertaining fighter in the UFC, and give me like a 49-48 unanimous win for Alexandre Pantoja. I can see Steve Erceg maybe getting the 3rd and 4th round, but then that experience in championship rounds will pay off and Pantoja will get the last round. That's my opinion. 3 rounds to 2 for Pantoja. But yeah, you guys have to let me know in the comments below. Are you even going to be watching this pay-per-view? It's very disappointing, I'm not gonna lie. Treating the Brazilian fans dirty, which honestly they deserve it after what they did to Glover. But let me know in the comments below, you guys watching this. Let me know what you think on my picks. Be on the lookout for either late Saturday, early Sunday. I'll drop the video of everyone who won and everyone I think they should fight next. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss any of my newest videos. And yeah, there's really not that much else left to say except for I will see you guys in my next video.